The witch is back. Wait, with this mic I can go anywhere. The witch is back. Mercury retrograde eclipse season has been getting the better of me, so I am happy to get something out at all right now. So today I just want to really quickly cover consecration because I don't think I have actually covered it in the past. We're also testing out new mics. I could face any direction I want and it's not going anywhere, baby. I still have the old mics. I wanted to play around with these for more on-the-go stuff in the future. Anyways, consecration. What is it? Do you need to do it? What do you need to do it to? And how? Let's get into it. Consecration is literally just defining a tool or object as sacred and specifically like making it sacred to a purpose. A non-witchcraft example for me is I have basically consecrated a pair of scissors to be fabric only scissors, only for fabric. In this fabric scissors analogy, it's because if you use those scissors for anything else, then it could dull them, it could make them less effective, and it's kind of the same idea, so that you are making an item or object more magical because you are dedicating it to just magical use, if that makes sense. Some people will consecrate all of their magical tools or items or anything that they're going to use, and they're going to dedicate it specifically to that purpose. Ceremonial witches might be more inclined to do that because a lot of their items, a lot of their tools, a lot of their materials are for that use and for that use alone. They don't necessarily all consecrate their tools, but they might be the type of person who are more likely to, whereas someone who is more an everyday witch, mixing all of their magical and mundane things together, might not feel inclined to consecrate their tools because they're going to use those scissors for magical use and for fun arts and crafts time. And that's totally fine too. From my personal opinion, and all of this of course is only going to be my personal experience and opinion, but for me, having a couple of items that are truly dedicated to my practice, to my work, and specifically ones that make the most sense for me for that purpose, whenever I get to break those tools out, it feels more magical, it feels more special. Whereas if I were to use any old pair of scissors, I might not feel as magical because I'm using child's craft scissors for my magical practice. I do have witch scissors, that's what I'm referencing, but I need to stop talking about scissors. That's not what this video is about. I have a lot of different scissors that are dedicated to different things, okay? So whether or not you need to consecrate tools is totally going to be up to you and you as a practitioner and how you're going to use things. To possibly help you or inspire you, let me tell you some of the items that I have consecrated. I can actually show you, most of them are here. Let's get it out of the way. I don't have my iron scissors. I actually don't know where I put them. I have these big, like kind of spooky iron scissors, but I also have these little bird scissors that I got because they made me think of Over the Garden Wall. But they're actually thread, like sewing scissors to cut thread with, and they're actually great for literally that purpose, just for witchcraft. Other items that I think are commonly consecrated are things like chalices or athames, and before you come at me in the comments and say you're pronouncing athame wrong, it's supposed to be a thame, they're all correct. I have done so much Googling and research on it. Everyone just kind of pronounces it different. Even each different like dictionary resource, when you click on the little audio thing, says it differently. It's just a like regional thing, and this is how I learned it. Athames are another common thing that are consecrated because they are ritual daggers that are not really made to cut actual objects. It's severing magical energy ties and not really used to cut anything really. Altar bells or cleansing bells, however you use them in your practice, bells, any kind of bell work. I mean, for me, aside from cleansing and, you know, doing ritual work, I'm not just walking around ringing bells all the time. So not a lot of mundane uses for this for me. So it made sense for me to consecrate it. One of the weirder things that I regularly consecrate for my practice is Sharpies. The concept of Sharpies being permanent has been in my brain, even though you can remove Sharpie off of some things. And because I already associate them with permanence, with things like lasting, whenever I want to write something down and I want to know that it is going to be permanent, it's going to stick, and writing it with a Sharpie helps me mean it. I'm writing it with a Sharpie. So I have consecrated Sharpies. I have Sharpies that are dedicated only to my magical practice. You can consecrate pretty much anything, like your grimoire or your tarot deck or your pendulum, whatever it is. Let's get into how to do that. Just as an example, we're going to consecrate my bird scissors again. The ritual of consecration can also be as simple or as elaborate or ceremonial or ritualistic as you want it to be. For example, I declare that these scissors are consecrated to my magical practice. If that's enough for you and that's all you want to do, that's all you need to do. I personally, though, like to take it a little bit further as far as ceremony, as far as ritual goes. I like to do my consecration using the elements, the 4 elements, well, 5 elements, but the four ones. If you are a specific type of elemental witch, for example, if you are a sea witch, then maybe you are only going to consecrate your items with water. So just keep in mind your personal practice and what is going to resonate with you. I like to, do this whole 4 corners balance thing, but that's just me. In my circle casting, I face each direction and I call each of the corners, each of the elements that correspond with each of the directions, and I like to consecrate my items in a similar manner. You should also take into account what object you are consecrating. For example, if you are consecrating something that should not get wet, don't put it in water. Maybe instead of getting it wet, you're just going to hover it over the water. Maybe you are going to wrap a blue ribbon around it and have elements around it that represent water, but don't, damage the item that you are trying to make sacred. Disclaimers out of the way, here's how I do it. The first direction I'm going to face is east. East is the element of air. To consecrate something with air, you can use an item such as a feather to brush over it that, represents air, or air. Just breathe on it. I'm a little smoke sensitive, so I don't, but oftentimes people will use the smoke of incense as this like visible depiction of air. Next, facing south, I consecrate this item with the element of fire. Fire, of course, can be represented in non-physical fire ways. For me, the easiest way to represent fire is with a little candle. I'm just going to wave my item over it. Again, don't catch anything on fire. If it's flammable, be very careful. It can be very high above. It can be very far away from your fire. Just, waving it over or wafting it around your fire so that it is around the fire element. Next, facing west, I'm going to consecrate this with the element of water. I have some moon water, and I don't really want to get these scissors wet because they're kind of metal. I know that I could really quickly dry them off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the water on my hand. I'm going to rub it around so it's very lightly, like I just got like a drop or 2 of water, and I'm going to kind of imbue it with the water, even though there's not really that much water there. You can also sprinkle water around it in like a little circle. You can just wave your water like a little water wand, and you've consecrated it with water. Finally, I face north and I consecrate this with the element of earth. I know that a way to cleanse things, a way to, ritualistically charge things with earth is to put things in dirt. I don't really feel like I want to get all of my stuff covered in dirt. So what is the alternative? For me, I like to sprinkle it with salt. I will just put it in a tray or a dish and sprinkle some salt around it. You can do that with soil too, but it gets under your nails, and I totally understand. As someone who plants and gardens a lot, like sometimes you don't really want to have all of your stuff covered in dirt. If that's not your vibe and a little sprinkle of salt will do, then you have consecrated your item with earth. Okay, 5th element here, and I'm not talking about the movie Multipass, Lilu Multipass. At this point in my circle casting, I would do as above, so below, and call upon the element of spirit. The element of spirit can be whatever you want it to be. It can be ancestors, it could be deities, it could be the spirit of yourself, your energy, whatever resonates the most with you. If you want to also consecrate this with the element of spirit, you could just call upon whatever that spirit is for you and just ask them to acknowledge that you have consecrated this item for your magical practice. For example, as above, so below, I call upon my guides to help me consecrate this item with magical energy so that I may only use it for sacred use, whatever the phrasing you feel is best for you here. So now your element-based consecration ritual is complete. Once your item is consecrated for magical use, you don't really need to do this process again unless you feel the need to, or unless maybe you start using it for mundane use and you want to make it feel magical again. I have only consecrated a handful of things that I really only use in my practice that I want to make sure feel magical, feel special to me. So I went through this ritual with them so that I could feel personally connected to them, so that they could feel personally connected to my practice. But that doesn't mean that when I use something that is not consecrated, I don't feel like it's magical at all. It's just, these are very specific, very few special items that I have felt I wanted to do this for. If you do or do not consecrate your tools, I would love to hear about how you do or why you don't in the comments below. So let me know. I'm just interested in learning about other people's practices. If you found this video entertaining or useful in any way, please consider giving me a little thumbs up, a little like, because it lets me know that you like what I'm doing and I'm doing a good job. And if you want to join me for more witchcraft videos, I try to get a video out every Friday. I really do, honestly. Anyways, if you want to join me, subscribe, and it would be really fun to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you next week in the next one. Bye.